This video is brought to you by...
This is Solid Snake, and you're listening to Junkie Monkeys. So pay some damn attention.
Hello, everybody. I'm Alex from Junkie Monkeys. I'm here with a man who needs no introduction. How you doing, David Hayter?
I am very well. Thank you, Alex. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem at all. So, you directed a movie called Wolves, and that releases soon. Can you briefly describe it?
Yeah, Wolves is it's your classic coming-of-age werewolf action love story. It's a tale as old as time.
So, unfortunately, the Metal Gear Solid Sand remake you were a part of got shut down. How did you go about joining up with that project?
Well, I heard about it through my Twitter, and a bunch of my followers kept saying, "Hey, there's this thing, and it's going on," and so I just reached out to the guy and said, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And he did. So we started talking about it, and then got into it. But then, of course, I was always a little dubious that Konami would allow that to go forward.
Yeah.
But for a while, it looked like it was going to happen, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I wish it fully went through. I was always a fan of Metal Gear, but
Yeah, and it looked like they were doing some cool stuff with it.
Yeah.
The visuals look good, and anyway, but it's a big, valuable franchise for Konami, and I know they don't like it messed with too much.
Yeah, I can understand where they're coming from, but So you served as a co-writer for 2009's Watchmen. How did that opportunity come about?
Well, in 2000, I wrote a movie called X-Men, and then my agents were like, "Okay, what do you want to do next?" And I said, "Well, if I'm the big comic book movie writer guy, then I want to do Watchmen." And so I tracked down Larry Gordon, who owned the rights, and I originally pitched a 6-hour miniseries for HBO, but Larry wanted to make a movie, and so I decided that I would try to do that, and then worked on it for about 9 years until the movie finally got made.
I think a HBO series would have been pretty dope.
Yeah, it would have been cool. What I wanted to do was then put it out in either 6 or 12 DVDs with the same covers as the book, and as the issues of the comic book. But so it would have been cool, but I was happy to do the movie as well.
Yeah, well, Alan Moore, he clearly hates the adaptation of his work. How does that make you feel?
Well, I spoke to Alan a few times during the writing of the script, and I made it clear to him how much I loved and respected the book and his work, and he was very, very supportive of me as a writer. He just doesn't like Hollywood in general.
Yeah.
I certainly don't have any problem with it. I understand his feelings, but the ideas in Watchmen are and the writing is so good, and the ideas are so amazing that I'm very proud of the fact that we kind of got to translate that story and put it out to millions of more people who can then go and appreciate the book as well.
Yeah. Do you think you would have liked the movie if you gave it a chance?
No, I think he would be annoyed all the way through.
Yeah, going in with a predetermined bias.
I just don't think he likes. He doesn't like I think he doesn't like the concept of spending $100 million or more to make any piece of art, and I can understand that. So I don't think it would be for him, but hopefully, I said to Dave Gibbons that it's my dream that he's flicking through the channels at 2:00 in the morning and comes across the movie and gets sucked into it, and against his will. That'd be kind of cool.
All right. If you had unlimited resources, what actors or directors would you want to work with?
Well, I would love to work with David Fincher. I think he's just an astounding director. Who else do I like? I might be working on a movie with Johnny Depp fairly soon, so that would be pretty cool if we were able to close that deal.
I can't say anything about that right now.
No, I can't say what it is or anything, but it's something we're discussing. Yeah. I've met Will Smith a couple of times, and we talked about doing some things together, but have not had a chance to do that yet. But he's really great.
Yeah.
And there's just so many people. I mean, I'd love to work with Gary Oldman, who is just an astounding actor, and I've gotten to work with amazing directors like Paul Greengrass and Ang Lee and Bryan Singer, and there's so many superbly talented people that it's kind of tough to narrow down.
Yeah, there's a lot of great actors and just overall people out there who work on movies.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing when you work with the top people. And I've gotten to know Guillermo del Toro as well. He's just a very lovely guy, and we're I'm talking to somebody else about doing a TV show that he might be involved in. So
I guess we can't say anything about that either.
Nope. They're all top secret until they come out,
Yeah. So what's the best movie you ever saw?
Well, Raiders of the Lost Ark was the movie that changed my life and that convinced me that I wanted to be in the movies. But I think my top three would be Raiders and Jaws and Miller's Crossing. If you know Miller's Crossing, it's a great Coen Brothers film.
Yeah, they're all really good movies.
Yeah, pretty good.
And moving back to X-Men, you obviously were a co-writer for I believe the first two, right?
That's right.
All right. What's your take on the latest ones that came out?
Well, I really love Days of Future Past. I thought it was really beautifully done, and I felt like it felt like our original movies. It really, the story was so great and so complex and so many great characters. The cast was ridiculous. I was really happy with it. And I really loved First Class as well. I think Matthew Vaughn is quite a brilliant guy. And so, yeah, I mean, there were a few in the middle there that I wasn't overly thrilled with. But I think they've really gotten on track now. Yeah. And I think Age of Apocalypse is going to be amazing.
Yeah, it's looking good. Are there any roles in any video games or movies you had to turn down?
That I had to turn down? Well, nothing that I regret. No, I mean, I've been offered movies to write that I've turned down, but typically, if I turn them down, it's for a reason that I think it's not going to work out too well. Like they came to me and on John Carter of Mars, for example, and so I read the book, and I asked them, do you want to adapt this directly? And they said, yeah, and I was like, well, I don't think that's going to work. So I didn't do it, and it didn't really work. So for the most part, the movies I've turned down, I haven't had any regrets, and I try not to have any regrets anyways, because what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. What's the most unusual fan request you've gotten?
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's a bunch of weird ones. It's like when people ask me to help them get married by talking to their wife or their fiance in a snake voice or things like that. I had a couple ask me if I would actually marry them as Solid Snake, and I thought I never did. I told them I would, but that it never came together. I think they decided that might be kind of a crazy idea.
Yeah, that's pretty out there.
It's pretty out there.
Yeah.
But I was flattered. It's nice when people appreciate you.
Yeah. Any final words?
Just rock on, junkie monkeys.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
Well, thank you, Alex. It was a pleasure to be here.